Happy New Year and welcome to Just One Place, one. In your head, it seems like it's going to be easy to do, right?
I have to write it down every single time.
This is so
But
funny.
maybe you just joined one workplace. Welcome to the team, Mike.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Well,
All right,
I'll be looking for a job in a couple of years, Amy, because I'm going to have to retire from
Come on over. It's a great place to work.
Oh, God. All right. Ready?
Ready.
Happy New Year and welcome to Just Three Workplace Gurus. I'm Mike.
I'm Amy.
I'm Vivienne.
And this is our first recording of 2025. We are very excited to be back from our holiday. We've talked to each other, but we have not talked to our listeners and subscribers. So Happy New Year to everybody. Today, we're going to talk about productivity. Episode 3 was productivity. That was about our personal productivity. This is going to be a little bit more about applications and crazy stuff like this that, because some of us are still manual and love our Post-it notes, but I'm looking forward to this conversation. Vivienne in particular has been exploring all kinds of stuff. So we're going to talk about getting more organized. So let's dive in, folks.
All right. Well, here's the thing. I'm a, ergonomics is my thing. But then very quickly I realized like productivity and ergo go together. And then productivity started, I realized it's a whole world unto its own because there's so many facets to it. So if you guys have not listened to episode 2, productivity, maybe it's 3, I don't remember. I think it's 2. Listen to it because there's really some good nuggets in there for you.
Yes.
But I've been on, I swear, a lifelong quest for like the right tools, from like the right pen to the paper has to feel right, to like digital tools, manual tools. And I'm convinced that I might have to create one just because I haven't quite found it, right? But you know what? I'm going to start with something surprising because over the years, I'm saying this professionally and I'm saying this personally. But the very first thing that I realized I needed a tool with, which is like, I don't know, maybe it's sad, but is sleep. Because if I'm not rested, I don't care how many tools I have, I'm just like an idiot. And I just like split, and I don't even know why I'm sitting there because like I'm just useless. So I actually started turning to 2 different tools just for sleep. And one of them, believe it or not, is good old YouTube, which is just like music to fall asleep by, relaxation music. And I'm like, oh, please.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put it on. It was just sort of like this, like, when you go to like get a massage or if you've ever been to a spa, there's that like liquid music. It's just, you don't really listen to it, but it's there. And I'm telling you, something, it was like somebody turned on a switch and all of a sudden every cell in my body was like, oh, I'm tired. That's good. But then I had to like turn my phone off and put it back into like airplane mode and get it like, so I was like, that woke me up again. I'm like, okay, that's not gonna work.
I was
Then
just going to ask you, like, what time do you turn your phone off? Disconnect from your phone.
What time should I, or what time do I?
Good questions,
Well,
both of them, right?
So this year, I'm very committed to an hour before. I've been pretty good, and it's making a difference. And I'm also trying to say at least the first 30, 60 minutes waking up. Just go there. Like have a cup of tea and just remember what your brain is like. you know. But but the getting off the phone before at least 30, 45, trying to get it to 60 minutes makes a big difference. Like a big difference. And so what happened was I would go to YouTube and then I'd be on the phone to turn it off and like suddenly I'm on Instagram and so I'm back on TikTok and I'm like, and that's I'm fully awake. Like this is ridiculous. So I mean, I don't know, I have a problem. So but anyway, so then I moved to like a Spotify list. And there I could like download a list and then it could it only runs for so long. But I was still like the phone was still on. So I was like, I don't like that. So then I switched to there's a clock out there called Hatch. And it has all these settings for like, I want to hear chimes before I go to bed. And I can set it for 7 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. And I thought that was the answer. And it also wakes you up with like the sunrise clock and the room sort of brightens slowly. But it's on Wi-Fi. and the Wi-Fi was right next to my head, and I'm like the princess and the pea. Like that, my sleep wasn't happening there either. So then I went to another clock. I can't remember the name of it. Sunny something, whatever. It's a non-Wi-Fi version of this. So now I can be like, okay, I'm going to turn it on. I can even like put the lights low, put low music, set the timer of it, and then it switches off. That has been life changing. It's only been a
Mm.
week.
Okay, but life changing,
But
really.
But you're a whole new
life changing.
woman.
I am, except my husband hates it. And so he's like, I'll go read in the other room. I'm like, aw, okay. But anyway, so for him, he doesn't want any noise at night. I'm like, it's not noise, it's music. It's like, but you can also have like rain sounds or whatever it is that like helps you fall asleep. So am I like alone in this, or do you guys fall asleep no problem?
I fall asleep no problem.
Ah,
I I'm
I'm
so
jealous.
tired when I hit the pillow that I'm done. But
You know,
I also have over the years made a point to not be on my phone an hour before. And I think that makes a huge difference because I noticed that when I was on the phone, first of all, it's mindless like rabbit hole stuff
so
that really
stupid.
brings no, I don't know. I mean, I should
Nothing.
be reading a book is what should be
Or
happening. And
listening
I
to podcasts.
or
Yeah, sorry.
listening to a podcast. There's other things we could be doing than that rabbit hole. So I think that does make a big difference is to shut that technology down.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. That motivates me. What about you, Mike?
I have never been a good sleeper ever, and neither are my
Ev-
sisters. I think it's just it's a thing.
Are
Um,
you a short sleeper or are you just a bad sleeper?
well, like I'm very good at an afternoon nap, and my afternoon nap is like 7 minutes.
Very good at it.
I
Oh,
am like I
seven
all my
minutes.
life. Oh yeah, like they're you know I'm in and out. Yeah,
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Like a power fast nap?
yeah,
Did you say a
yeah,
7 minute nap?
How do
yeah.
you
Like
Seven
does
to
like
ten.
calm down in 7 minutes? How do you
Years
shut your
ago,
brain down?
back in the day of actual television, I would come home from work and this is not a joke. I would watch Tom Brokaw. What was that? ABC or I can't remember which.
Yeah,
You
what I
know,
think so.
I
CBS,
would be
whatever.
awake for the first news thing and the last one. So I'd sleep for like whatever that is, 17 minutes. It's not a joke. I would fall asleep, wake up, watch the last one, and that would be over. Like almost every
Wow.
day, that was a habit. So
That's
I'm
impressive.
definitely a power napper. We have never had any to speak of any technology in our room and no television. So our bedroom is
Yeah, I
sort of
haven't no
a safe
television at
zone.
all right now.
Like my phone comes in here to my office, it does not go in the bedroom. That said, I have a tablet, which is where I do most of my reading. And you guys know I was an English major, so I am obsessive about reading. I'm constantly reading. What I did do probably 2 or 3 years ago, maybe longer, was I deleted as much stuff off of my tablet as I could. Like there's still news, and I think there's still Facebook, but I moved my calendar and all the emails. You have to have an email in order to log into it, but I used one of my crappy emails that nobody ever sends me
Right, right.
anything on. So it's essentially just a box now. I mean, there's a couple things I can do, and that has worked because I do like to read. But I'll wake up at 4 in the morning, read for an hour, go back to sleep, or sometimes I get up and just do my thing.
So you sleep in chapters.
I do, yeah.
Way to
And
tie it
funny
back to
enough,
the book.
yeah, yeah. I
That's
got
really interesting.
a I got a technology ring. This is not Aura; it's a different kind. But I can now track my sleep cycles. It's a ring that's connected to an app that manages your health.
Interesting.
So it's like your watch, but like people have those watches that tell you everything.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah.
so there's what the heck is it's called Q Ring, and so it sort of tells me all the things I need to know about my sleep cycles and my stress level, which is apparently high. I'm not sure why
Wow,
it's
what do you do?
high,
That's
but
Are
cool.
you stressed right now, Mike?
no, I don't know. That's a weird one. I don't, because sometimes it'll be like
I
19 and I'll think this has been a crappy day. Why am I getting a 19?
why am I like, oh, I don't know, maybe you're right.
But anyway,
And so in
um,
there, did you notice your sleep was disruptive?
well, I also am one of those CPAP people. So that has changed my sleep. Um, although I took it off last night because I think the hose is leaking a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, is what it is. But what I was going to mention to you, Viv, we at work we ordered one of these sound machines.
Oh.
Happens to have the company name on it, but it's one of those machines that plays wave sounds or very light
Oh.
music or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
birds and blah blah blah. Uh, and this was actually pretty nice. I mean, I don't have it in the bedroom. I have it in here. I should try it in the bedroom and see how it works. And you can time
Is
this
that
so it'll
is
automatically
that to
shut
be
off.
is that to be productive during work
No, it's
or
to
to
be
help you sleep?
calming. Yeah, or to help you sleep,
Oh,
or
Was that a
that's
gift that you
interesting.
gave all your employees?
we gave it to all of the employees in our individual organization. It's
That's
called
amazing.
R&R Sound Machine.
R&R sound machine. All right, so now we got like sleep, music, whatever gadgets, but I like that, the whole sound thing. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, and then you've got the what do you call it? A Q ring?
This is called a Q ring. Yeah.
Q ring. Huh, interesting.
So
Okay.
it just I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but there's all kinds of uh, technology stuff in the inside of the ring. Can you see
Okay.
there? That is
Crazy.
just basically
Wow.
reading what's going on through your finger.
Sensors and
So I don't
stuff.
have. I didn't want to wear a watch with
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
email and phone and all that, and so I thought this would be kind of cool. And I've only had it for 2 weeks, but so far I like it, and I can kind of look at it every day and say, "Oh, it's good to see." I feel like I need to be, at this age, really tracking better. All kinds of things.
That's
It tracks
interesting.
my exercise. So when I went for a walk this morning, it tracks my steps. And so it's a lot of things that mean I don't
It does a lot
necessarily
of
have
things
to
in
take my
one little
phone
thing.
or a watch or whatever. Yeah.
So, as we're
Interesting.
talking about these different gadgets and productivity, I'm curious. And with the new year, do you set your goals and do you make them quantifiable now? So, since you seem to have a lot of metrics that you're tracking
I don't
now.
personally believe in New Year's resolutions because I don't think anybody ever keeps them. So I don't do that.
It's
I
setting
think
up for failure.
some things just sort of align with like I bought one of these. Sorry, I keep doing that for my
Right.
wife and for me. That was just a thing at the end of
Interesting.
the year. But I don't like resolutions. They don't work, or at least for most people, they don't. I'm just not into it.
Not your thing. Well, my thing for sleep is just really trying to think backwards. So, like, just get into bed at a reasonable hour so I can get
Yes.
7 to 8 hours because that's my
Yeah.
sweet
Mhm.
spot too. I can do a day, like I said, 6 hours, five, but that's about it. By the
Right.
second day, I'm like, oh god. Anyway, but then, so I've also been playing with like while working. Sometimes I find that if I'm listening to music, it really helps me, and other times it's totally distracting. Like, I'm
That's
trying to
true.
figure out which music. So, like, I'm noticing, like, if I listen to like Frank Sinatra, like that's I don't know why that has lyrics, but it doesn't bother me. But in general, it either has to be like big band music or jazz or classical guitar or classical piano. I can't do because
I
I'm a
bet
classical
you're
pianist, and I start
analyzing it.
listening critically, and I'm trying to like, oh my god, what is that piece? And then I get just like unproductive. Right? And then I'm suddenly down a rabbit hole in YouTube, like finding other people playing that piece. Then I want to find the score, and then I'm like, okay, that failed. But does music help you?
I love to have the music on, and if I have 2 or 3 hours gap here at home when I'm working, that I have to get things done, but I'm not on a call, I will put the music on. The challenge for
Right.
me is if I'm listening to Frank, I'm probably singing. So that's
Mhm.
that's a
Well,
little
yeah,
distracting.
and it must be
Um,
the right thing I'm working on. Like, if I have to think hard and I'm, like, creating any
then you
content or
can't. Yeah,
writing
yeah,
emails, no music. But if it's something more, clerical or I'm just, like, whatever, reconciling something, whatever it might be, and it's a little more brainless, music is perfect. In fact, I
Well, and you
have a
both
hard
know
time
I
doing it
love
with
to cook.
yeah,
I'm in the kitchen with Frank and a glass of wine. That is heaven
perfect.
That's
to
your
me.
happy place.
I could do that
Took
for
her to her
hours at a
store.
time, and I'm just. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
if I've told this story on the podcast, but I often make my family bolognese, and it takes a good few hours.
yeah.
And one day I had done the grocery shopping the day before, and I got up in the morning and I decided to start cooking. So my wife came out in the kitchen and she said, "What the hell are you doing?" Because it was 9 o'clock and I had a glass of wine. But I don't know how to not
Followed
make
by a
sauce.
power nap. Right.
I can't make sauce without wine. So, I mean, I wasn't like pounding the wine or anything, but
You were sipping it.
It's just paired so nicely together.
yes, thank you, Amy.
I love it. Exactly. So, Amy, are you a music girl or are you a silence girl?
I'm a silence girl. So,
Okay.
yeah, I get too easily distracted. I'd say the closest thing that I even do to kind of to calm me if I'm in a zone is light a candle. But no,
Oh,
background noise of any kind is too distracting for me. So I do much better. Yeah, I always have a candle lit, almost always.
I haven't done the candle thing. I do have a salt lamp that needs a new light bulb, but
Yeah.
it gives ambiance.
Um,
I don't know.
should
But
we move on to tools that we use?
Yeah. So I wanted to share something with you guys. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
aware, but when I first started my career, so this is the early 90s or mid 90s, Franklin time management was very
Yes.
popular.
Franklin
And
Covey? Covey?
Franklin Covey.
I
Yeah.
go,
And there were
oh,
the
you know what? I
seven
do that.
habits
Oh, I
to
had the
success.
book and yeah.
I was a, well,
Took
that's
the
what I was going to share with
class?
you. I was a trainer for Franklin Covey.
You
Um,
were?
I
and
didn't
so
know.
time management is like my jam. I love that stuff. I love in Franklin time management, you would do A, B, and C. So you would prioritize your day and you would have like an A1, A2, those were your highest priority, and then your B's and then your C's. And C's could be moved over and things like that. They were less important. And so we would always talk about kind of like if you had a jar of pebbles and rocks and the different sizes of the rocks, like an A, right, would be big. They wouldn't fall to the bottom, but a C might be really small and could be moved around. So I kind of lived my life by that mentality to this day. When
Ooh.
the
We
calendar
could do
thing
a whole
came up,
section on time management. Okay.
I love time management. Yeah. And I used to carry those big leather portfolios and it had literally my life in it. And if somebody decided to
Remember,
take it, I would be paralyzed and they would have my identity because everything was in there.
I think I remember that, Amy. I think when we used to go on our
Yeah,
cold call stuff in person, I think I
Mm.
remember you had like the thing, and you were
I
that was like
did.
this is bringing back memories and lobbies
Does
of
it
you like
stick
Yeah.
scribbling
with
things.
you?
Yeah. I still live by that
You do.
to this day. Yeah. So, like a few things that I do in terms of my time management, I've downsized a little bit. So, these online calendars, Outlook, and everything came into play. And I fought it and fought it and fought it. But I have embraced it over the years as I
Okay,
should.
right.
So a lot of my calendar, like meetings and appointments and calls, obviously with Zoom, now you have to embrace it, are on my Outlook calendar. But I still also carry a planner around with me. And every
I love
night
this.
at the end of the day, before I close out for the day, I prioritize my next day of activities. So I still do.
Interesting.
Mhm.
See, interesting. Oh, that's so okay. What would your like? I really think we should do a whole podcast on time management, and you lead the way and like teach all of us. But if you had to break it down to like the top three things, prioritizing is one. What would like two be?
Yeah, I would put prioritizing and planning ahead. So, for instance, my Friday, I always look towards the next week. So I usually can, like, if I have duplications in meetings or things like that, I can let people know on Friday that, oh, I'm not going to be able to make this or I have a conflict of some sort. So I do that. A lot of pre planning on that. Also, like, if I know I have a meeting the next day, I always have, let's say I have a meeting on Wednesday. On Tuesday, I block out time to prepare for that meeting. So I don't wait till Wednesday morning to prepare for it. And this, Vivienne, also, I don't know how you run your day, but this also allows me to sleep. Like, knowing
Well,
that
that
I've
makes
kind of
sense. It's
taken,
not like running around in your head. Right.
yeah, because I used to be really neurotic. I used to keep a notebook by my nightstand and like write things down as it came up. As I was trying to fall asleep, I would write things down, right?
Ah,
So
okay.
this allows me like to kind of have a day in advance. So I would say that
Okay.
writing things
Okay.
down for me is also really helpful. That's how I retain information.
Right.
So I think that's also important to do.
I think that's true. I
Interesting.
think a lot of us
Yeah.
retain just by physically
So,
writing.
if you're watching this, I think Mike, you had a similar stack. If you're listening, I'm holding about 47 notebooks, and so is Mike. And I'm just
And
going
these
through
are
every
all currently in use and have a purpose.
Oh,
Like
you have different.
that, well, that was consulting, which I haven't done lately. This is any design work that I do. It's grid paper. I just did this for my
Okay.
daughter for something I'm helping her with. This is this is my cooking um, uh,
Nice.
channel, which is in hiatus, and this is
Okay.
my work binder, and this is my guru's binder.
This is your guru. That's a big guru binder.
I have
That's
one.
really
Yeah.
interesting. So I that's really interesting. So a couple things. Can I now share my neuroses with everybody? So like I bought this notebook, which was pretty. It's got nice flowers on it. And it
Mhm.
was like small. It will go in my bag, right? And then I opened it up and it was just like it was all wrong. It's just like this line thing and the paper felt wrong and I hated it. So I couldn't work with it. Then I thought, well, let me have a teeny tiny one. And that thing looks like a pocket thing. And I'm like, maybe I'll like go with the big to-do list, which I actually use Google Keep. If you don't know what it is, it's keep.google.com if you're a Google person. It's almost like a to-do list or notes or sticky list, but you can make
Mhm.
checklists. You can check it off and it like doesn't go away. It just goes to the bottom of your list and it's grayed out. And you can uncheck it to bring it back. So that's kind of cool. So that sort of keeps me on track. But then I'm crazy. But anyway, so the little one was just like I couldn't because my day is too big. So I was like, all right, you're out. And then I've tried various you know, medium-sized ones, hardbound ones, and that was good for a while. And then I saw this thing on Instagram. Instagram, if you're listening, I'm the easiest target to sell to because I'm like, oh, it's going to be the thing. And then I'm like, I need to see it all in one, right? So this got like my must to dos. There's your big rocks, Amy. My schedule, and then what matters today, and did my goal get achieved, and what am I grateful for, and then a place for notes, whatever. But I don't know, it just didn't work. Then
Th-
I thought I saw this other one. I'm like, well, I'm visual, and here I can put like see the whole calendar, so I can see my whole life ahead of me. And then on the bottom, I have like little tabs for each day, and I thought this is going to be the perfect one. And then it was overwhelming, and I hated it, and it made me nervous, so I put that away. But then, wait, there's
You have
process
to
where I
have like a whole separate budget just on your calendar
no,
gadgets.
I'm insane. Okay, but then I found the
Oh,
Kindle
that's pretty.
Scribe.
What's that?
Oh, this is just the Kindle Scribe, which is new that came out. Now, there was
Yes, the
something called
scribe.
the
Yeah.
Remarkable that also came out, and I think I tried that at one point. It's quite expensive. It was early. I've heard that they've made it really good now. But anyway, I went to the Kindle Scribe because I also love to read, like too. And I found on my tablet the backlight was getting to me, but the Kindle Surface for reading works for me and not waking me up at night. So if I'm not reading a book, then I'm on here, and you can actually make notes when you're on your books. But then it has a whole notebook section. So now I have digital notebooks for like the gurus, work, music, like kind of like you. I've sort of broken it out, and that has been working beautifully. Because one of the things that happens to me with lists, I get overwhelmed,
Hmm.
and so I do like to plan ahead of time. And then I come to work, I'm like,
But don't you
I
get the
gotta
endorphin rush when you get to check it off?
oh no, I love doing that, but now I can
That's Amy. I
erase it.
love that. Yeah.
I can actually take it off the list. So the day, instead of it looking crazy cluttered, it gets like less and less cluttered over the day. Because like as I finish something that's completed, I literally erase it. And then I'm back to my two. I'm like, wow, I got everything done, or I only had one thing that carried over. It's only been since Monday, but so far I think I may have found my thing.
So for the
I
non-technicals,
find that
oh boy.
checklist very satisfying.
Yeah, me too. For the non-technical, okay. Can you buy a Kindle and then Scribe is an app within Kindle, or it's called a Kindle Scribe?
It's called a Kindle Scribe.
Okay, so that's
So it's a
the device
Kindle
you
that you can then
purchase.
write on, and it's got like this special little pen. And then you can move things around and you can erase things, and I can make the pen fat and skinny, and it's all like black and white, and it's very smooth. And it's just like I can have a blank page, I can have lined, I can have it like what you call like a bullet journal, like the dot. I don't know what you call that. Anyway, so there's flexibility on how you want to set it up. So far it's working like a charm.
Can you sync your calendar to the Scribe?
No,
Okay.
which is okay. I've got my calendar like here, but I can put notes to say like there's a notebook thing where I can actually have a calendar if I wanted it. But I kind of know what that is. This is more like the stuff I have to do to prepare for those meetings in the calendar, and I can like prioritize things. So why I have this and Google Keep, I have no idea.
Yeah, now you've got to
And why I hate
downsize
two,
that.
I don't know. Yeah. So
I
anyway,
do
That's
think
great.
the
but sometimes
hardest. No, go ahead, Vivian.
no. I'm gonna say the last few, but sometimes like I'll be like, okay, this hour I'm just gonna work on like these three things. I still have a little paper something.
I think the hardest thing
Work
for
in
me,
progress.
and
It's only been 30 years. Yeah.
this is partly the job that I have, but there's so much stuff that happens in a day that I have no control over. There's
Yeah.
ants in the cafe, or there's a toilet overflowing downstairs, or
Mm.
I've got to
Right.
get this last minute presentation for an executive to something, whatever. And so that's the hardest challenge for me is sometimes I have so many things I want to get done in a day, and I
Yeah.
can't because there's just too many distractions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then other days, like Wednesday this week, was particularly productive. Like there wasn't a lot going on, not a lot of people in the office. I had very little on my calendar after like 10 o'clock, and I just knocked out like 50 things that I really needed to get done, and it
I
felt
love days
great.
like that.
But
Oh
it's
my God, I
very.
love
I
days
feel
like
like
that.
my work life is very, very unpredictable. Fun. That's kind of what I love about it. But you
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
never like you never know what you're gonna run into. So that's hard to plan
Amy,
for.
is your yeah, yeah, but you were just showing up a whole bunch of like sticky notes. So you're a sticky note guy.
Very much.
And that's interesting. So and that doesn't bother you to have lots of sticky notes around?
I reorg them. Like I write a new one when the old one is getting annoying and toss that. And you know,
I love it.
I always write a sticky note list when I have my one-on-one with my boss because I don't want the notes in my notebook. I want the outcome from that. And so then once I've gone through the list, and sometimes we don't get through it all, so then I have to transfer them to the next week's list. There's that kind of stuff.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
I'm
Got it.
very much a post-it note guy, and years ago, somebody it might have been you, Amy, gave me one of those post-it note dispensers.
Oh, that was me.
I
Yes.
love. I have brought
Oh
this. I
my
love
God.
this thing,
I
but
think that
you
thing's
have to
great.
get the
You got to get the fan fold kind of
yeah,
post-its.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
So the other thing
I
that's
used to take it to work with me. Now I keep it at home. I love that thing. I love it.
so interesting. See, the sticky notes in me, I tried them. I thought I would love them. And then I thought I would love the bigger lined ones. I was like, oh, this is perfect. And then like the lines were too far apart. I was just like, no, that's not right. I'm a college rule girl.
I also
But
have
anyway,
a notepad on my desk at the office because a lot of times I'm calculating some square footage, something or other, or
yeah,
I
yeah,
need to figure. Like yesterday, I was ordering product for our corporate store. Logoed stuff. Okay, how much is that going to be? How many of those should be? So I'll just make little notes on this. I have one of those little yellow mini legal pads, and then I just
yeah.
rip that off and throw that out. I mean, I throw out a lot of paper. I admit I'm wasting paper.
You guys are just making my old office supply heart so happy with all the little products that you've been. I thought that was a dying breed, but boy, not with people like you two around.
But this little gadget, if you're listening, I'm holding up this weird little cube clock. Again, Instagram, I'm like a sucker. But this was like life changing. So I can set the timer for 5, 15, 30, or 60 minutes. I'm a big fan of the Pomodoro technique. So if I have like a block of heads down time, like to really like set it for 30 minutes, decide what I'm doing, do it, and then take a break. And then I'll do another 30-minute session, take a break. And I might stop there to take a bigger break, or I might do a 90-minute. Because what I find is if I just blast through, like I'm just mentally very tired at the end, and my productivity goes down, 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 down. But like yesterday, I was super unmotivated, and I was like, I'm done. I'm like, you're not done, actually. You might want to be done. You might think you're done. So I thought, all right, just sit here for 15 minutes and knock out that like one thing. And this thing like made me do it. And then I've got two things squeezed into the 15 minutes, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I did like another one. So the next thing I knew, I scrolled out another hour and actually got things that I promised people I would get to them. But like, so it just helps me like I don't know. Just know, like, hey, you could do anything for 15 minutes. Just
Mm-hmm. So you bring up a good point. When you block out that window of time and you want kind of that focus, heads down, do you answer the call that comes in or a text or an email, or do you stay focused on that task at hand during that 15 minutes?
good question. Um, Mostly, unless I know something's brewing and I have to keep an eye out for something, I finally have turned off those email notifications that like slide into the side of your computer window. And I will actually take this, and if I'm really, really disciplined, I'll put it on airplane mode. Then they can't come in. Every now and then I'll see a Slack come in, and when I look, I'm totally off my game. Because then
Yeah.
I get sucked into that, and then I'm not focused coming back.
And then
So
it
I
takes you
really,
time to get back on track.
yeah, yeah.
How
And
about
then I
you,
can
Mike?
get easily distracted.
Yeah, I'm all over the map. Sorry. Easily distracted, drawn to nine things at once. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
I
not good about it.
do that also, but when I'm really saying like I've got to work on this proposal, or I've got to like I have to chunk it, I'm really like getting better at just pushing it away. And like when I'm done, like okay, then I'll sit down for half an hour, like look at all the emails, and I'm just like, what? How did 75 emails come? And
Yeah.
it's only been a half hour. Like, um, yeah, but I go back and forth between the swirl and the sort of deep dive.
I sort of
But
think I'm all over the map because probably two or three things. Like one is just curiosity. Like I'm like, what? Oh, what? As
you
my
have
wife says,
FOMO,
bright shiny thing.
the fear of missing out,
Um,
right?
and that yes, fear of missing right. But I think the other is uh, a lot of what I do is international, and
Ah,
sometimes it's immediate. Like, oh, I need. What do I do about this, or what should we tell the person about this, or what you know? So it does sort of sometimes require that I answer those questions really quick and then move on to the next thing. Like most of my team is international, so I have a small window in the morning and in the evening when I can talk to them because they're all asleep right now. So it's probably a combination of those things, maybe.
yeah.
I'm just not very organized, I admit it.
Well, no, that's the
You're
thing.
sounding
I
like you
inherit.
are.
Well, you are. See, you're like me, Mike. Like I inherently am not organized and gravitate towards the things that I like to do, and that can sit for hours doing it. It's not like I'm not productive. It's just that, like, depends what it is. But these tools actually help. Like, like without them, I'm done. Like Amy, you said, without your Franklin planner, you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that
So
you have taken your Franklin Planner days and adapted that to your life today. I think that's really cool.
that is amazing.
So some people love that I do that. There's many other fans out there that can't stand that I do that because everything in my life they say is a checklist. So there is that.
So would you say
I
you're
will.
inherently organized?
I'm sorry.
Would you say inherently you're an organized person? Like, is your
Yeah.
brain structured that way?
Yes. And if I am not organized, I can't function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, does that extend to like your house and your environment? Like,
Yes. Those are the non-fans of my organization.
Husband,
Yes.
daughters.
So
I used, I used to love.
I
I used to
come
not
up
care.
on Fridays. This is how pathetic I am. I'm getting
No, you're
better.
not pathetic. I'm
But
I'm getting
no,
inspired.
no, this is why they're not my fan. They're not fans. So I would Fridays, I said I kind of plan for the next week. So I'm also planning for the weekend. And these are the things that I would like to get done. So instead of having a conversation, because that didn't seem to land very well, I just write on a little whiteboard. And it has a little box next to each thing, clean gutters. I don't know,
Because
go
you
to the
like to check.
market, whatever. I
Right.
do that, and then I just put it in the kitchen and pray that throughout the weekend those things get checked off by, and that's why those people are not my fans.
That's
I'm
so
gonna
funny.
align with you on that, Amy, because obviously my career is based on being a planner, like a project
Yeah, yeah,
manager.
yeah,
That's in
yeah.
our own way, we're all project managers, right? And I have had people say over the years, "Well, you're not going to product like we moved from one house to the house we're in today. This was 11 years ago." And somebody said to me, "Well, you're not going to run it like a project." And I said, "Of course I'm going to like
Of course you
how would
are.
you imagine I would do this?" And I will say the short story is that by the time the weekend was over, nobody in this house was speaking to me at all. Like seriously.
Oh no.
But a few days later, my wife said to me, "I will admit that if you hadn't done what you did, we wouldn't have gotten where we are, but it was
Yeah.
hell." And then when my daughter got
Really?
married, I
Same thing.
sort of took over project management of like, we got to be here at this time, we got to do this. And I'm, like looking at my phone and saying, okay, we
Did
have
you have
20
a
minutes
wedding
and then we have
notebook?
to be at this place. I did not have a book, no.
Ah, okay.
But I was very diligent about, and it was funny
You see, you
because,
are organized.
I think he is. I think
yeah,
he's not giving
I
himself credit.
suppose so. Yeah, I suppose. And
It's
I
funny
think
because
what I'm finding in the conversation is we are all disorganized and organized in our own unique way, and we find ways to compensate for the disorganization in our organization. But the
well,
need to be organized and the need to have everything aligned, I think
Yeah.
all three of us are very similar in that.
yeah, no, no,
Yes.
I have to
Yeah.
because here's the truth. Like my inherent nature doesn't like I hate spreadsheets. Hate them with a passion. Um, Maybe it's because the musician artist in me, I don't like I love blank pages. And then you like, let's see where the magic happens, you know. So time for a long time was like a spreadsheet to me. Like, don't tell me, I'll do what I want to do when I feel like I want to do that. And then like when you work with 20 other people, you can't do that. And so now I've come to appreciate time. Like I need it, right? And then I've also
Mhm.
learned to make time to have open time, right? So even in my piano practice, for something that's so free, it's extremely structured. Like today, I'm going to work on this, 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 and this, and this. And classical music is super structured, and you have to be super organized, and you have to like. There's so many details happening, like that you can't
Yeah.
just like, you know. I don't know. It's interesting. But then I've learned if I want to be more free form, just make time for that,
So
and
how
then
do
I don't have
you
to worry
organize
about it.
yourself for classical music? Do you have like 15 different gadgets to get you there?
No gadgets, not one gadget, not even a notebook. Isn't that weird? It's all here. Now
Yes.
I have a score I'm working with, right? So there's a blueprint. There's all the notes and everything is there. It's just what goes into it, which is really strange. It's the opposite of what happens here
Yeah.
at my desk.
Is it more
Really
of a
weird.
mindset preparation?
Yeah, and then when a piece gets to a certain level, and then once you get on stage, then it's like it becomes a whole other thing, which is completely free because the foundation is.
Mm.
But I finally like got disciplined enough to do that foundational work. Like I was telling my teacher yesterday, I feel like I'm building the pieces. Like, I lay the foundation and I'm like putting brick by brick and I'm figuring out which thing literally like if you saw my score, you'd be like, oh my God, she is insane. But every note has like a number on it that corresponds to which finger will play what note. And like certain even like movements and like there's a whole technique behind it. But then there's notes to say, like musically, I want to bring out this voice or that voice. It's all notated in there. So maybe that is organized. But I often
Notated
walk
by
away like
you or notated in the
me.
score that you're playing?
Sometimes the editor will give you notations, and if they're good, you keep them. If not, you overwrite them.
So you're actually
Interesting. But yeah,
writing on the
oh,
uh,
yeah. And I
oh
haven't gone
wow.
digital with my scores yet. Like they're all
Oh,
very
that's really
straightforward.
cool. I didn't know that.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. And
Yeah.
then, but
Yeah.
once it's memorized and internalized, it's like a whole other thing. Really weird, but interesting.
I love
So
that.
if you're
That's
listening
great.
out there, we'd like to hear what your secrets are. Share them with us.
We would love
And if you have any new gadgets you want tested out, let Vivienne know via Instagram, and
that.
she'll be sure
Exactly.
to give it a
I'll
try.
buy it. And I haven't checked out like productivity apps yet.
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
if
I
I want
think
to do
maybe
that.
somebody's going to cut you off if you keep buying more binders and gadgets. That guy who sometimes passes across the screen.
My
Yeah.
husband? Oh no, that's a whole nother podcast episode. You should see his desk. It's just mountains of papers everywhere, and I'm just like, I can't even.
That is another thing. I know we need to wrap up. That's another thing that drives me crazy is piles. I hate piles of paper. Ugh.
I don't like paper.
Everything has
I
to
don't
have a
like
place,
coffee.
you know. It's
Yep.
it's it's
Yep.
time again this year. There's a file cabinet in the closet back there, and I go in and I sort last year's bills, what few we get by in paper anymore, and the previous year gets shredded. Like it's all I have to have it all very keeps me sane. I think.
That's cool.
Anyway,
So now you
this
all
has
know how crazy
been
we are.
we are
Okay,
yeah.
great.
I'm glad that we're equally crazy. It's fun that
Yeah.
we can share that. This has
Neurotic.
Right,
been
audience, tell us we're
particularly
not
fun.
alone, please.
We're not alone. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This has been really fun. Thank you. I love this one. Well,
Great.
thanks everyone for listening, subscribing, uh, viewing on YouTube. We're happy to have our listeners. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank
Okay.
you. Bye
Thank you,
bye.
everybody. Bye.